Hello, everybody. How are you today? I'm so glad to see everybody on this Meditation Monday, and it's a holiday, it's Memorial Day. This is a day we stop to remember those who laid down their lives for our freedom. And, I started out this morning I always like to be very observant of things like that in my own heart, of that I don't just take for granted. Because you guys, if you heard me on Saturday on Ultimate Impact, you know I'm at the beach. And I say that with a smile because it is one of my favorite places on the entire earth is to be at the beach. My family gets frustrated because if I was offered the choice between going anywhere I wanted to go, I would always choose the beach. And that sometimes isn't as fun for them because they like to sightsee and go and do things like that. And I just love the beach. And so, in my own heart, a lot of times when I go to my secret place that we talk about, it's the beach. So, I'm at the beach right now, but this morning I was just thinking about, the fact that I get to be here, the fact that I have the freedom, it came at a cost. But I never stopped just right there because then I start rolling it back and I'm like, Jesus paid the real cost. And I am grateful that he did that. And so, any of you that are used to being on here, you know that I call us the Gratefulness Gang. We have so much to be thankful for. We have so much to say, God, if you never did one more thing for me, I would still have more than enough. But he's such a good God that he hasn't stopped. He doesn't stop. He continues on. He continues to pour out his love on us. And so I was reading in one of my favorite little devotion books, I Hear His Whispers. And this is from May the 23rd, so it wasn't today, but I'd read it the other day and I've been thinking about it. And this phrase says, "No one else will satisfy your heart but me." Now we hear that phrase, and many times we'll just say it out loud. That's right, Jesus, nobody satisfies my heart but you. But when we stop to think about the fact that truly no one can satisfy my heart but him, it says, "Let your eyes be bright with hope. The dawning light will come. I will never push away the one who seeks me. Even in your captivity, I will be your strength. Do not forget that Daniel served me while he was a captive in Babylon. He remained faithful to me even at great cost. Those who watched his life knew that I was his God, the one who unveiled revelation secrets and gave him wisdom." And I just stopped to think about that. And I was like, all right, he was in captivity in Babylon. And people around him knew who his God was because of the decisions he made and the way that he made them. He wasn't doing it to shove something in their faces. He wasn't doing it, to be difficult. He did what he did because of who he knew he was. And we have that same opportunity. Am I living in a way where if people looked at me, they would say, I know who her God is? And I'm not talking about religiously. I'm talking about when they say, Jennifer's God is not money. It's not going to the beach, even though I love that. It's not my children. It's not all of these things that too often become our gods because they get out of place. They become more valuable. They become more important. They become the thing that we're consumed with when nothing will satisfy my heart like him. And so I went to Romans 8, one of my favorite passages. I'm in the Passion, Romans 8, verse 28, if somebody will throw that up in the chat. So we're convinced that every detail of our lives is continually woven together to fit into God's perfect plan of bringing good into our lives. For we are his lovers who have been called to fulfill his designed purposes. And so we start with this thought of every detail of my life. Why can I be grateful? Why can I be thankful? Every detail of my life is woven into this plan because I'm a lover of him, because I have decided that nothing satisfies me like him, that I have decided that I'm not going to keep seeking everything else. I'm going to seek him. And as I seek him, then everything else will be added. And he goes on to say, for he knew all about us before we were born, and he destined us from the beginning to share the likeness of his son. You want to see the details of your life woven together in such a way that nobody wonders who your God is, nobody wonders what you're thinking about or what you're choosing. When we decide, remember, we get to make choices. When we decide, I want to be more like Jesus than I've ever been. I want to be more like Jesus than I was yesterday. I want to live in such a way that everything about me declares who Jesus is, so that as every detail of my life is woven together, it becomes more and more of a picture of the Jesus I know. And so today, as we close our eyes and as we make the decision, I choose right now. I choose right now to go into my secret place. I choose right now to relax. I just let my breathing become slow and smooth. I allow myself just to begin to just let go of all the daily activities, all of the thoughts of what I need to do after this. I just let go of all of the things that would be a distraction in this moment. Just watch them float away. I don't need that thought right now. Anything that would distract me, even my own thoughts that criticize and say this isn't real, there's nothing really going to happen for you. I let that go because I choose to meet with Jesus. I go into this intending to have an encounter with Jesus. And I'm not going to control it. I'm not going to try to say how it has to be, but I know he never turns me away. And I know that no one satisfies my heart like him. So I see in front of me all of the things that would begin to make up my secret place. I begin to imagine it. I begin to imagine it as if I'm there, as if I'm standing in that place. And the colors bring such a soothing to me. The sounds relax me. They relax me from the inside out. My shoulders drop. Every part of my body just begins to loosen because I know I don't have to make any decisions right now. I don't have to figure anything out right now. I'm not trying to make this happen. Just allowing myself to see this beautiful place, to hear the sounds in this beautiful place, to smell or touch anything that would be present in this place. And then I decide, I choose to be here. I choose to be in this moment. And I love it. I love this place. Just let your love for it. Just let that come alive for a moment. And then you see someone walking towards you. And you know who it is. You may not be able to see all of his features, and you may not be able to describe what he's wearing or anything of that nature, but you know it's Jesus. And you know he's here because we came to meet with him. Because he never leaves us, he never forsakes us. He never says, I won't show up. And again, any thoughts that would say, this isn't happening, this isn't real, you just let those go. I'm just not going to entertain those right now because I'm here to meet with Jesus. And as he gets close to you, you embrace and you feel his compassion for you in this moment. You feel his compassion that says, I know what you're going through. I know the things that you're struggling with. I know the things that you're facing. I know the things that are overwhelming you. And in this moment, you feel seen. Somebody sees you. And he invites you to go on a walk with him. And as you're walking along, you feel yourself just enjoying being with him. Because no one satisfies our hearts like he does. You feel just a rest that happens as you're walking. You come to a bench and you sit down on it together. And he says, I have a movie I want to show you today. And you look across and sure enough, there's a big movie screen, the biggest movie screen you've ever seen. And the movie he's wanting to show you is of when you first came to know him. And you may say, I was a child, I don't even remember that. Or you may say, I don't remember that day. You know what? Don't stress over what will be in this movie. Just go back to the first memory that comes where you knew Jesus was your Savior and Lord. Go back to that. Go back to that place. And let Jesus show you that movie. Maybe you are a child. Maybe you're an adult. But I'm going to be quiet for just a minute because I want you to watch the movie from this time where you knew Jesus was everything. See, as you watch this movie, he's taking you back to a time and a place where your heart burned for Jesus. It was on fire for him. You were in love because you knew you were loved. And maybe like me, you were 7 or 8 and you didn't even know why you needed to be loved so badly, but you just knew you wanted it. and he came alive. But so often, we have so many other things that are going on that we forget how it feels to be so in love with Jesus and know he's so in love with you that it becomes our life, our lifeline. And as I sit here with Jesus and I watch myself walk down that aisle at 7 years old, I knew I wanted him. I knew I wanted this Jesus that people kept talking about in church. And because I knew I wanted him, I've spent my life too often doing for him instead of being with him. And so as I watch this movie, me and Jesus, he holds my hand to remind me how much he loves me. As I'm watching this movie, as I say yes to Jesus, he's in my movie. I see the smile on his face and I can hear the angels rejoicing because I said yes. That's what's happening in my movie is there's so much rejoicing because I said yes, because I wanted Jesus. The Holy Spirit comes alive inside of me. It's like that little 7-year-old looks completely different. And as I'm watching it and I see Jesus in my movie, his love for me is indescribable. And sitting on this bench watching this movie, I look over at Jesus, and that same love is alive in his eyes right now. Because no one can satisfy my heart the way Jesus does. No one can. And this movie takes me back to my first love. It takes me back to a place where I can read Romans 8 and I can say, yes, I see how my life is being woven together and that everything works for my good as I'm seeking to be more like you, to be made more into your image, Jesus. And I want the passion that little 7-year-old girl had. I want that alive inside of me again. And as I sit on this bench, I watch my heart. It begins to glow because I feel this transformation happening inside of me as I sit with Jesus and we're watching this movie. And I hear the rejoicing and I see the love in his eyes, both in the movie and sitting next to me. And they just begin to intermingle. And this glowing of my heart brings something alive inside of me that says, my first love is alive. My first love for Jesus, it's there. It's actually even more alive, more passionate than it was when I was 7 because I know different things now. And as it comes alive inside of me, and excitement begins to flow through me, I feel the excitement. Not because I know how everything is going to work out, but because I know the one in whom I'm trusting, in whose image I want to be the likeness of. And Jesus sitting next to me is smiling. He's smiling because he loves this moment so much when this love begins to ignite within me. And my heart is still glowing. And so, right now in this moment, I watch that movie again. I watch myself. I watch myself say yes to Jesus. I hear the angels rejoice. I see Father, Son, and Holy Spirit rejoicing because no one satisfies my heart like Jesus does. And in this moment, I want to remember this movie. I want to remember watching. And I want to remember how it felt to come alive to Him. I want to remember how it felt to say yes to the one who laid down his life for me so that I would have this opportunity. And as I sit here on this bench, I want to remember the smile on his face as my heart is glowing with the excitement of my first love, with the excitement of knowing that I am the most valuable person to him. Not to diminish anybody else, because we're all that valuable. I don't know how to explain that. I just know that it's true. I know that what he did it for just Jennifer, but he also did it for all of mankind. And so my heart glows with an excitement because I'm remembering my first love. I'm remembering how it felt to first know him, to first experience him. And one of those thoughts that sometimes will distract us, maybe you were 7. How can you even remember that? How can you even know what you were thinking? I'm going to tell you something. I still remember walking down the aisle to say yes. And I can't tell you anything else, but I have played this movie today and I watched what he showed me. And so I'm just going to tell you this is going back to my first love. And now my heart is glowing with it. So now we'll count to 5 and we'll open our eyes together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I hope you got a picture. I hope you have something that you saw in that movie. And don't get discouraged or distracted if you don't believe it was the very first time, because mine was a combination of two different memories of times that because I rededicated my life in high school and I remember the church I was in for that. And so my movie kind of went from being 7 to being in high school and I was like, I remember how I felt. The pastor was Brother Lee. And I remember when I walked down that aisle and I said to Brother Lee, I want Jesus. Now I was 7. But you know what? Today, that same love came alive. That same love, knowing that I can trust him, knowing that I can follow him, knowing that he's leading me, knowing that he cares about me, knowing that I'm important to him. And so, guys, sometimes, there's a song by Cody Carnes, yeah. Nothing else. And it is a beautiful song because it reminds us nothing else is going to satisfy me like Jesus. And so when we remember that first love, and I can still see what my heart looked like glowing. And so when we get off here, for those of you who might be new to this, write down a few things that came alive to you in that meditation. And it may be something different. Sometimes you're not even doing the same meditation I'm doing. That's okay. I love that. I love when Jesus does that for us, where he's like, we're going to actually go a different little path. That's okay. Because the intent for what we do here is to connect with Jesus, to believe it's real, to believe it's possible, to experience that. So anything that came alive to you in that, make some notes about it because you know what? The beautiful thing is that he'll give you more information about it as you want it, as you're ready to hear it, as you're ready to do something with it. So your glowing heart, it may have been glowing an odd color. It doesn't matter. It may have been on fire. That's okay too. Remember, meditation is meant to use the imagination because at some point the imagination meets with the heart. And so send me your testimonies. Send me anything that came alive to you in this today. Because I'm going to tell you something. Our first love, man, that makes a lot of things look different when I'm looking through the eyes of, of the passion and the excitement. That was the word. I remember using that now. The excitement that kind of flowed through me because I am in love with someone who loves me with an everlasting love. So, guys, as you go into your week this week, maybe you get in a difficult situation and you remind yourself, wait a minute, my heart is on fire. My heart is glowing with my first love. And you know what? My first love wants to lead me beside still waters and into green pastures. Remind yourself that your first love, he wanted you to remember today, not just how much you love him, but how much he loves you. So guys, I hope you've had a good time today. I've had a good time today. That for me was a lot of fun. Watching my first love come alive again inside of me. And so I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for being a part of Meditation Mondays. And I will be back next week. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day and week ahead. And we'll be back together soon. Bye, my Gratefulness Gang.